Hey guys, this is me. I'm back. It's been some very trying few months. I just wanted to thank everybody who has stopped by my 265 NCLEX question video. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for crying with me, laughing with me. I never considered doing YouTube videos, but absolutely felt like I had to after that experience because when I was looking at videos myself, and I'm like, please, I'm not gonna watch a video about somebody who passed in 265. And it wasn't until it happened for myself that I realized how necessary it was. You are not alone. Who cares if you finish in 265? Who cares if you finish in 75? Because guess what? When you go for your interviews, they can care less. They don't care if you're a valedictorian. All they care is, do you have that license? Is that license active? And are you a competent or intend to be a competent nurse upon hire? So again, thank you for everybody for checking in that video. What prompted me to make this video is one of a comment I saw recently underneath my video, because I do comment, I do respond fairly quickly. I'm like attached to my phone, so there's no way that I don't see your comments. Gosh, I wish I remember her name. It begins with a T. If you see this video, girl, I did this video for you. So this video is basically going to be about the RN to BSN bridge programs, which program I'm in, how I feel about this program, how I rate my program, so on and so forth. So initially, I was gonna go to GCU. When I said had everything set up, all of my transcripts, like financial FAFSA done, ready to go, telling the lady like, listen, meet me outside, grab my paperwork, let's get it started. What turned me off to GCU was they explained to me that my credits would be $349 a semester, $349 a credit. They told me all the classes I needed to do, capstone, blah, blah, blah. They would meet up with me in the local Applebee's and treat me for food. And I'm like, okay, this is great. But what turned me off about it was like they wanted me to give up my credit card information. So I'm like, well, can I get a Bursar's bill? Like, can I see what's going on? Can I see what I have to pay out of pocket? And the rep tells me, and I'm going to purposefully exclude her name in the story. What she tells me is like, oh, well, you don't see a Bursar bill until you provide your credit card information. I'm like, what? Like, that's not true. She's like, oh yeah, like, listen, this is not my first undergrad program. I've completed my bachelor's degree in psychology. I've been to almost a million other schools. I've been to Kingsborough. I've been to Brooklyn College. I've been to, I know you're like, oh my God. I've been to York College. So I've been to even Mega Evers. So this is like not my first like rodeo. I know you get that Bursar's bill, and then you're asked whether or not you're gonna pay with credit card, money order, check, blah 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 blah. So I know that. So for when she tried to tell me the credit card, no, that's not gonna happen. So another friend of mine who was also considering GCO, she told the same thing. So basically we was like, let's call her and confront her, because we both have undergrad degrees and we've never heard no such thing as that. So we call her and we're like, listen, we haven't spoken to a financial aid advisor. We don't know if we're getting financial aid. We don't know what will be covered. She's like, oh, don't worry, guys. You're worrying about money. Just, start writing a bibliography. What? Why would I write my bibliography and you won't even show me a Bursar's bill, but you want my credit card information, and I still can't speak to a financial aid advisor? So I said, that's not going to happen. I need to speak to a financial aid advisor. So I spoke to a financial aid advisor. They told me when my class would start, when it would end. They told me my financial aid wouldn't cover anything, which I'm fine with, because like I said, this is my second undergrad degree, so I already know I wasn't going to get anything from financial aid, but I wanted to know in terms of my loans. And she's telling me, you don't have anything left from your loans. You would have to pay out of pocket. And I'm like, how the hell is that possible? First of all, as of right now, I have $36,000 in student loans. Right now, I just started paying back, so I'm at 34. Woo! And I was like, I see people with $100,000 and $150,000, $200,000 in student loans. So how is it that my student loans are done already? And then, mind you, my friend, She has like maybe 46,000. So I said, how does she? And they told her the same thing. Hers was done as well. So I said, none of this is just adding up. This is just so shady, so suspicious. So I was still attending my ADN program, and I decided to speak to the financial aid officer there. And she was like, she told both myself and my friend, oh, you guys have plenty of financial aid left. Like, she told my friend she had was like, closer to her cap, because she said I think her cap was like 55,000. But she told me, she was like, me definitely, I had more breathing room. I had at least another 15, 20,000. So she doesn't understand what she's talking about. So I told the GCU rep, like, listen, I don't know where you got this financial aid officer from, but this isn't working. The financial aid officer from my current school has told me something different. So I said, you know what, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, I need everything that was discussed, because mind you, while I was talking to the GCU financial aid officer, I was writing everything down on my phone, asking her to repeat it. I repeated it back to her to make sure I was right. And I told her, I said, I want everything that we discussed on Friday, because that's when I spoke to the financial aid officer from GCU. I wanted it in writing on Monday, because I had already spoken to my financial aid officer at my ADN. So she decides to email me. All of a sudden, my classes are $420 a credit. My classes were $420 a credit. That they put in a note that I would have to agree to a promise date to pay my tuition, and that if I don't meet the promise date, they're just gonna go ahead and run my credit card because it's on file. I'm like, what? That's, first of all, that's so shady. I've been to, even with me going private, even with me going to a CUNY institution, I have never heard any one of them, regardless if your credit card information is on file or not, regardless if your bank account is on file or not, for them to just go ahead and run your payment method. No, like, I don't know if that's illegal, and I wouldn't go as far as to say that's illegal, but that definitely seems unethical and very shady. So when she told me that, I was like, oh, what happened? Then I contacted the rep, like, listen, because mind you now, by the time I got the paperwork, that email on Monday, I was technically supposed to be in school that day. Now the rep was like, I was like, first of all, how am I not being charged the late fee? How do I know this class is even available? Like, this is supposed to be the first day of class. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. Write your bibliography. I'm like, stop telling me to write my bibliography. I'm not writing no freaking bibliography. You guys are going to figure this out. I'm in no rush to complete school. At the end of the day, I already have a job working as a nurse, and they're not pressuring me to get my BSN right now. So, like, I'm not stressing. I'm not worried. If I have to wait for the next month to register, that's what we're going to do. So then she tells me, oh, I don't know what was the confusion about. I'm ready to, like, go above her head and speak to, like, the head of the Department of Financial Aid. And I'm like, you know what? This sounds like too much is going on. How about I just say no? And that's exactly what I did. They called me. Then the rep had the audacity. This would definitely make me feel like, no, when you have a bad gut feeling, and you should follow it. So the rep that I was dealing with lived in the Bronx and was saying, like, she could basically meet me anywhere to collect my paperwork. So she would have been meeting me at my job to collect my paperwork, but she also had my home address. This lady calls me at 10 o'clock at night talking about she's going to come to my house to pick up my paperwork so that way she can register me, because today is still the first day of classes and I need to get signed set up. What? Are you crazy? Who comes to somebody's house at 10 o'clock at night? You will not be stepping foot nowhere near my house at 10 o'clock at night. First of all, I have a rule of you don't call people's house after 10 o'clock. I think that's everybody. That's how I was raised. You don't call anybody's house after 10. So I didn't answer her. I read her message that said she's going to come to my house. When I saw that, I was like, you must be crazy. Like, absolutely not. I said no. No means no. This is it. Sorry, guys. I have a bit of a cold. So I also had gotten in contact with oh gosh, what's the school that everybody goes to? But I don't have that type of money. Not Grand Canyon, which is GCU. Oh my gosh, I can't even think about it. Oh, Chamberlain. I don't have Chamberlain money because at this point I was at the point of I needed to find a BSN program that would be fairly cost effective if I ended up having to pay out of pocket, because the plan was to not pay any more student loans. I want to be able to pay out of pocket, so all I have to do is just focus on the 36,000 that I have. Okay, so I couldn't even do Chamberlain. I just don't have Chamberlain money. I can't give somebody 15,000. No, I'm sorry, not 15,000. 1,500 every 5 weeks, or every however many weeks the semester is. And everybody speaks so highly of them. Granted, yes, I'm pretty sure I had a few people tell me like they did Chamberlain with their eyes closed. Okay, yeah, you did it with your eyes closed, but you paid $1,500, so. Ugh. So let's talk about where I finally ended up going. I went to university. Well, I'm still enrolled. Actually, I'm saying it as if I'm done. Girl, I'm ready to be done. Or boy, I'm ready to be done. Because, anyway. I decided to go to University of Texas at Arlington. Primary reason, they are $247 per credit, which means if I'm taking a 3-credit course, it is $771 exact. No convenience fees, no student tech fees, no student org fees, nothing. It is exactly $771 every 5 weeks. That's how long the semesters are, 5 weeks. So when I first contacted University of Texas, I was honestly impressed by them. They were very thorough. They walked me through the entire process. They literally stayed on the, like, they were like, where's your computer? I'm like, oh, my computer's off. We'll wait for you to turn your computer on. They walked me through it. They said, okay, on the left-hand side, you're going to see a home button. Press that. That takes you to your My Mavs account. This takes you for your Canvas. They walked me through everything. And I appreciated that, because my biggest concern with an online school, is that I don't have the luxury that if I don't understand something, I can go grab my computer and take it to somebody. Yeah, I don't have the luxury of taking my computer and saying, here, I don't understand this, can you help me? Or if I'm having an issue with financial aid, there's no registrar office, there's no bursar office I can go to in person. They're all the way in Texas. So I appreciated that. So I signed up for my first class. First class was Transitions of Nursing. Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Like, really, like, okay, I can do this. So then in the middle of me being in that class, I was trying to figure out, like, okay, what classes do I need to take? Because they told me that class that I need to take Transitions of Nursing, but they didn't really say anything else after that. So I reached out to someone from UTA and gave them my transcripts. Mind you, I told you I've been to a million other schools. Every school that I've applied to, because I did have Chamberlain evaluate my transcript. I had GCU evaluate my transcript. They told me that I would only need 30 credits, because I was basically going to do the max, being that I had a previous degree already. So I would be done in like no time. Basically like 10 classes is all I would need. So contacted the registrar department. Now, mind you, when I first did my paperwork with admissions, they told me same thing. Oh, you're only going to need 30 credits. You're most likely going to get the max. You'll be done within a year. Okay, great. So then I reached out to somebody from the BSN program and got something totally different. Now, oh, well, they wouldn't accept my algebra and trig. And I don't know who else is like that, but almost every ADN program requires you to take an algebra and trig. This lady tried to tell me that my algebra and trig course, because mind you, it's an intermediate course. It says intermediate algebra and trigonometry. She tried to tell me that that is a requirement to get into college. No, it's not. I said, I have my bachelor's degree already. Why would I be taking an intro to math class when I have my bachelor's degree already? Like, I've already completed 300 and 400 level classes. Like, that class itself was it a 200? I think it was a 200 level. Like, oh no, I'm lying. It was a 100 level class, but it's definitely not an intro because you needed the other, like, say for instance, if this was math 135, you needed math 10 in order to satisfy going to 135. So I told her that's absolutely not true. Every other school has taken it. Anyway, fight with them back and forth. And then I'm like, you know what? I essentially just give up and accept it because I'm like, you know what? Now, instead of me being done in 10 classes, I'm going to be done in 12 classes, which sucks because it's like now, oh, and there was another class they didn't accept from me. No, I'm lying. They did accept it. At first they weren't going to accept my history 400 class because they were saying I needed a general elective. But I said, listen, I've taken like 8 electives. I've taken philosophy. I've taken like almost up to 300 level sociology, like literally just for the hell of it. I didn't even need it. Like, I had taken so many sociology classes when I was at Brooklyn College. They thought that was my second major. No, not my second major. I just like sociology, felt like it was easy courses and an elective that I would be interested in. So I got them to take it. So now they have me taking like, I would say maybe 10, 300 and 400 level classes, the math course, of course, and I would have to, no, or maybe it's just 9 classes, and then I would have to take a nursing upper elective, which I still feel like, okay, that's understandable, but now I have to take another general upper division, which is dumb, because I'm like, I have so many electives underneath my previous undergrad, why don't you just take that? But anyway, I digress. So I'm like, whatever, you know what? It'll still run me, even if I'm paying $771 out of pocket, it'll still run me cheaper than going to GCU, and it'll still run me cheaper than going to Chamberlain. So fine, I'll just grin and bear it. Like, I already told my husband that for the math 135, because he's like a math pro, you'll be taking that class for me. Like, you'll just do my homework and I'll submit it and we'll be done. Like, because it's only 5 weeks. That's the one good thing about it. And the one and very few thing that I like about UTA is that their discussions are due every Wednesday and then their assignments are due every Saturday. But it's not like GCU, where my friend ended up ultimately attending. So she had the same issue where she had a previous undergrad degree, but they wouldn't accept her intro to psychology. And I'm like, how do you not accept someone's intro to psychology? They wouldn't accept her intro to sociology. They basically didn't accept like maybe 5 or 6 classes from her. They wouldn't accept her English 200 level. And she ended up having to drop out from UTA in the middle of that first class, transitions or nursing, that we were taking together. So I'm like, I don't blame her, because they were like, oh, well, you can just CLEP everything. She was like, why should I have to like study like and CLEP everything when every other school that I applied to was willing to take these? So I stayed because I'm like, okay, even though they're not accepting everything from me either, it's only just 2 classes. 6 classes is like unforgivable. That's just way too much. So now she's at GCU. She's not thrilled about it either, but you know, she's not having to take these 6 extra classes unnecessarily. So I'm still here going at UTA, taking my classes. So they gave me a breakdown of all the classes that I needed to take. So I'm doing my next class, taking that. So like, back to what I was saying. So I do like about when their discussions open, you don't have to wait for discussions to open. Discussions are open and available from the first day of class. Your ability to submit assignments are available for the first day of class. So this is what I do. That first week, I hit the ground running. Like this last class I took, which was like health assessments, that first week of class, I completed all 5 quizzes for each week. So week 1 through 5's quizzes. I did discussions, week 3 and 4 discussions. And then I started on my 2 week 1 and week 2 assignments. Like if you really want to, if you really have like a day or 2 to yourself, You honestly can just knock everything out. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't buy the books. I don't buy the textbooks. The textbooks are already done. I don't buy the textbooks. Don't buy the textbooks. Don't buy the textbooks. Okay? You take from that what you will. Okay? Um, so yeah. You take from that what you will. So, like I said, other than that, it's okay. Like, I do like some of the courses, some of the classes, like I'm like doing my best, and I feel like listen, this is my second undergrad. You're stressing me out as if like I'm going for like my NP, and I really need you to chill out. This is just a BSN. If you guys have ever taken trends or research or something like that in your 8 a.m. program, their RN to BSN program is like that, but for a much longer version. So if you were tired of like your professors going ham, like when you wrote your papers, like, oh Chandra, I love your concept and I love where you're going, but I just feel like you can give me more. You can give me more. Sis, I can't give you more. Okay, I work nights. I am tired. Okay, let me get my B plus and go to sleep. Oh, speaking of B plus, so that's the one thing I don't like about UTA. They don't have any negatives, or they don't give any pluses or minuses for their grades. So if you are an 82 average or you are 89.5 average, because they don't round up, you are still a B. So that annoyed me, because I did complete one of my courses with an 89.6, and here I'm thinking, that's at least an A minus. No, it's a B. And I'm like, well, why the hell am I, it almost made me feel like, why the hell am I trying so hard if I could be at 80 or I can be at 89.6 and still get a B? Like, at least give me a B plus. But at 89.6, honestly, in any other school would be an A minus. So their logic, I don't understand. But that's another issue that I don't like about them. So I'm gonna start wrapping this up because I don't want to make this video too long. So finally, I'm gonna give you my overall grade of my thoughts for UTA. So if I could rate UTA, I would give them a C plus, even though they don't give minuses or pluses. I would give them a C plus, and here's why. So I'm actually in my last week of one of my classes, and on August 22nd, my mother had a stroke. My sister called me at 6 o'clock in the morning and put my mom on the phone. She was just talking very nonsensical, just in a word salad, just not making any sense. And I knew that's what was happening. So 6 o'clock in the morning, we get my mother dressed, rush out to the hospital, because where my mother lives, we didn't want to take her to the hospital in that area because they just have an overall poor performance. And I hate to say it, I'd rather have just taken my chances, taking my mother elsewhere. And that's what I did. So I took my mother to another hospital, got her there about 8 a.m. And I was there. Mind you, I worked that night. So I was with my mother in the hospital for 8 a.m. to about 5:20, 5:30. Went straight to work. And, you can see it all over my face, what's going, that I was stressed out, and, what was going on. So one of my colleagues asked me, broke down in tears and was like, my mother just had a stroke. She's in the hospital right now. I wasn't able to obviously leave because I was still on probation. So my job said, even if it'd be too many strikes against me and they could technically fire me, which I thought that was BS, but that's for another time. So I decided to stay. I toughed it out, went back straight from work back to see my mother, got there maybe 9 a.m. I mean, just exhausted, running on E. I don't drink coffee because I will just be a poopy mess. So I was there at the hospital, couldn't sleep. Obviously, who can sleep at a hospital, especially if your mother's a patient? And I was there till about maybe 6 o'clock that evening, and went home with my mother and just really knocked out. So during that, the following week, because basically the concerns that my mother couldn't be left home alone. So me and my sister had been taking turns being at my mother's house. So when I finally was able to like go home, which is maybe like the Monday, because she was discharged from the hospital Friday. I was there Saturday, Sunday. So Monday, I really had time to myself, and I said, you know what, I really got to get my homework done. I looked and I saw that one of my assignments wasn't completed, and it was actually due around the same time that my mother was in the hospital. So messaged my professor like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, my mother's in the hospital and I didn't even realize that I didn't complete this assignment. Now, mind you, I had completed, this was only week 2. I had completed week 3's discussion, week 4's discussion. I had completed my other assignments going all the way up until week 4, luckily. This assignment was due from week 2, and it completely just skipped my mind within the process of my mother being in the hospital. And the instructor said, oh, well, it's past the 48 hours. I don't know if I can accept it. If you can provide me with some documentation that your mother was in the hospital, like a discharge summary, I will submit it for approval. So that's the issue that I had right there. If I'm telling you my mother's in the hospital and I provide you with discharge papers, why do you need to submit it to anybody else for approval? Who is faking discharge papers? But anyway, so a few days had passed. It was maybe like 4 days. And I emailed my professor, like, what's going on? Like, I don't understand how it would be so difficult to approve it. Once I tell you my mother's had a stroke, she's in the hospital, here's her discharge papers, it should be like a no-brainer. Like, okay, yeah, resubmit it, blah, blah, blah. So my professor reaches back out to me 2 days later. Oh, upon discussion, they're not going to allow you to resubmit that submit that assignment. And I had to tell her, I said, and she hasn't responded to me since, because here's the thing, I don't like to sugarcoat with people. I had told her, I said, to be quite frank, I think it's disgusting that I would tell you my mother's had a stroke, she's in the hospital, would show you I have discharge papers, and that wouldn't be a automatic, okay, you can go ahead and submit that assignment. I said I work nights, I've lost many hours of sleep, going back and forth, taking care of my mother, being at work, and for you to sit there and not be accommodating, or the board to not be accommodating, is truly disgusting, and it's shameful, and it's ridiculous. And that's exactly what I said in my email. Have not gotten a response back, because you know what? It's true. You're supposed to accommodate students like that. We always sit there and we always tell nurses about self-care and taking care of yourself first and making sure your home life is taken care of, and not to bring that to work. But then you, as my instructor, or the board for UTA, who oversaw that paperwork, wasn't empathetic to what was going on. How can you sit there and be empathetic to a patient who, like, how would you be empathetic to a patient who might have been going through that same thing? That could have been, you as a nurse could have easily been the nurse taking care of my mother, and knowing that I'm a nurse, and you would empathize with me then, but on paper you wouldn't empathize with me? How disgusting is that? And that's honestly, if I really could give them anything, that's really why they got the C+. In that situation, they honestly deserve an F. But in terms of the coursework and everything else and the somewhat navigation of it, I would give the overall school C+. I have no desire to go down there to get my degree. You can mail me everything in person. I am done. Thank you for my BSN. Thank you for it being cheap. Thank you for it being only 5 weeks long. Bye-bye. That's it, This is, and a few people in my hospital are aware of UTA. So UTA does have a fairly good reputation, but that whole experience honestly just really turned me off. And now I'm just like, I only want my bachelor's degree from you. I'm done. I don't feel that motivated to complete my assignments like I used to, because you just shouldn't treat a student like that, because that could easily be your own mother. But anyway, guys, just got me heated for a second. But anyway, guys, thank you for this video. Thank you for the suggestion. If there's any more topics that you would like me to discuss, like how nurses eat their young, or nurse managers eat their young, or what to do in terms of being unionized, anything like that, please, please, please write it below in the comments. Also, like this, share this. I definitely think people should be well aware and fully informed of what they're getting themselves into when they sign up for these BSN programs, and know that everything that glitters is not gold, and UTA was definitely not gold. Maybe there's stalactite or something like that, because it sure ain't gold. Bye bye.